Hi, I'm Alex. I do tool reviews, tips, and how-to videos. Today we're going to continue our log cabin project. It's a log cabin built in the 1760s. So, as you can see, the first course of wood shake or row is double thick. You need to have a under course and a top course. Ideally, you put 2 to 3 wood shakes thick. Never one on directly on top of another. You want to stagger your water lines. If you notice here on the outer edge, there's a lat board on the neighboring roof. What that is that gets temporarily fastened into that side there, and on the opposite side. That maintains our 1 inch thick overhang. This roof transitions up higher into the neighboring roof. So that gives us our 1 inch overhang. On the bottom of the wood shake, we have 2 inch overhang. Even though this building's never going to have a gutter on it, if you were to do a building with wood shake or a house, you want to have 1.5 to 2 inches of overhang. I would typically say 2 wood shake, because it'll give plenty of overhang. Even on this house that'll never see a gutter, it's better to have it. It'll help protect the facial board and shutters and the like. So, with every course of wood shake, we put a roll of felt paper. This is called a split roll because it's literally a half a roll cut in half. A course on this particular roof is 10 inches high. That's what you see there on the left. Every row is called a course, and the exposure is how high that course is. That gets dictated by the lat boards, which you see they're running from the left to the right. They dictate your exposure. Since we pretty much tore out, we repaired 3 rafters, one that was damaged by tree damage, and 2 that rotted out from old age and prior roof leaks. We replaced all the lats. So we installed new lats roughly every 10 inches in preparation for our 10-inch exposure. You want to make sure that you nail into the lat board and not into the wood shake itself, into the lower shake. By doing that, you maintain a pretty decent line. Either snap a line. I like to use my hammer as a guide. The lat board's roughly 2 to 3 inches wide, so you got some wiggle room. What you're looking at here is a piece of metal that we bent to maintain a relatively straight course. It's 3/4 of an inch bent down, 10 inches up, and 3/4 inches up again. What that allows us to do is temporarily tack that into the wood shake. It holds all our wood shakes in place, and then we could fasten them up and have a relatively straight line. You don't want to have your wood shakes looking too good. You know, they got to have some ups and downs and stuff like that. So you want to run your wood shakes more straight up and down. Read the manufacturer's packaging. Ours recommends 3/8 to 5/8 gap in between one shake to the next, because everything has an expansion and contraction rate. Well, wood shakes, they swell up and they shrink up due to temperatures. At nighttime or when it's cold or after a rain, they will swell up. If it's too tight, it will buckle and split the wood shake. If it's too wide of a gap, it could split the wood shake. When you're doing wood shake, one water line or one shake shouldn't line up to another water line shake for no less than 3 courses or rows of wood shake. Ideally, you want to have it a minimum of 1 inch away from a water line above or below it. And as you can see, we're going to be running our felt paper above the 10-inch exposure. Now what that is that's cheap insurance, so that if there is a split in a wood shake, hopefully many years down the road, or the quality of workmanship's not that hot, you don't have to rely on the wood shake so heavily. It'll back up your water lines. We use a 30 weight paper, which is a heavy duty paper, felt paper. And if this is set up right, which you'll see in a little bit, you can do this ahead of time and kind of use it as your guide, per se, to set your wood shakes. It's very difficult to do that on its own to keep the paper straight. We set up our scaffolding so we could work up so high, and then we're set roof jacks and scaffolding up once we're out of reach. These particular wood shakes, there is the left side of my scaffolding is 2 bundles of wood shakes, and it's 5 bundles makes up a square. A square is a 10-foot by 10-foot box. This section of roofing that we're working on is roughly 18 feet wide and 12 feet high. So it's just shy of 2 square. But you have to factor in losses on wood shake. Typically, you add 20% more material on a wood shake job due to losses. Wood shake bundles come with 3 different sizes in it: a small, medium, and large width. They vary in sizes between 4 to 6 inch wide, 8-inch wide, and larger. Some shakes could be as wide as that bundle. A lot of people like to save these wide shakes in fear that they'll need them later on down the road. Not myself. I tend to use what's in front of me and pick off the top of the pile. Just being mindful of the shake below me and the shake I'm installing. With this piece of metal also, it allows you to see the shake that's being covered, the water line that's being covered by the metal, and you line up above it and below it, and it kind of takes that whole eyeing it up out of the equation. Here's the jack that we're referring to. That's a Slater's jack. You notice we have it mounted in the rafter, but any good solid lat that you feel comfortable to. Just remember, you will be putting a lot of weight and your own personal safety into it. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're secured into something solid. And there's a 16-foot aluminum plank. It's getting towards the end of the day on our project, so we're covering it up with the felt paper for water protection. You can never tell when the weather's going to change, or it's just better safe than sorry. You never want to leave a house or a building exposed to the elements with unpredictable weather. So we're felting in from the top down. It's not the easiest way to do it, but But at least this way, when we go back to shake it in later in the video, everything will be prepped and ready for us. We'll just be putting our shakes in and hitting it. Wood shake's just one of those funny jobs that I don't get to do that often. In a lot of ways, I'm like Bob Vila. I'm very knowledgeable in it, but I don't have a lot of practical experience. While I work on wood shakes a lot, I repair wood shakes, I help people with wood shake projects. Hell, I even did a pretty nice gazebo one time in wood shakes without the benefit of the split roll felt paper. I just don't get an opportunity to do it that often. Fortunately for me, if you're familiar with the channel, I call him my coworker, but he's a little bit more than that. My coworker is actually my Uncle Anthony. He has over 40 years experience in roofing, and even though I don't have a big love affair for wood shake in general, luckily for me, he does. He literally has thousands of square of wood shake under his belt. And I'm really laying heavy on his knowledge and experience to guide me through this project. The metal jig that we use is his idea. They used to use a long time ago. And I could really see the benefits of it. It really works great. Like I said, as far as all the other practical knowledge, I have worked side by side with other people in the past, doing small wood shake projects and larger ones, but just not me personally, you know. So, well, we're going to carry on, see this project through. Pretty soon the video is going to slow down a bit. I've been running it at 4 times the speed because it is a very slow and tedious process. There was 4 hours of footage I had to edit down and make it realistic. Even after speeding it up to 4 times the speed, we're still left with 50 plus minutes of footage. So we're going to slow it down a little bit once we get back to wood shaking. And to, 2 times speed. Hopefully you're getting a better appreciation for what's going on, and it slows it down enough for you to see what's going on here. As you can see with the felt paper already installed, we're tucking it under the overlaps. Now what that allows us to do is we set our wood shake and the felt paper set up a little bit higher. The 10-inch exposure, the felt paper set up about 11 inches, which ideally is where your lap board should be, in that 10.5 to 11 inch range where you want to nail to. Like I said, it just gives you a healthy guide. I don't know that they're straight or clean enough to really run your wood shake off of it. I'm sure you can manage, but we're not. Later on in the video, we're going to we have another bracket set up, and we're going to move the lower scaffolding up midway. And we also shaked our way almost to the ridge. We ran a little bit short of hitting the ridge. We have to go around the chimneys. Tomorrow we have to, well, I'm going to take care of that fascial board damaged area there that's missing above the doorway. that was where the tree came through and busted up the place. It broke a rafter to the right of the fascia board. Also broke the floorboard in there. And to the right of Anthony is where it landed on the ridge. Luckily, there's no open ridge in there. It's a mortise and tenon joint rafter. So there's not a conventional ridge that you would typically see. So it busted up a couple lap boards and ruined a few shakes on the backside. While removing the old wood shakes, we salvaged about a bundle's worth of good shakes to fill in the backside. No reason to have the whole building look like a repair. You know, it'll take a few years for these to start to patina up from this shade of cedar to a darker color. So, and the copper ridge roll or ridge cap got damaged out, so we had to get a new one of them. That will finish off the ridge quite nicely. Then we'll have to tear everything down, blow her off the roof, get it all cleaned up, do some final photos, and wrap this one up. It's been a lot of work, this project, but I kind of enjoyed it along the process. I do a lot of repairs on historic houses, even homes older than this one. Excuse me. Supposedly this is one of the oldest log cabins on its original building lot in all of Pennsylvania. Now, I've worked on older homes in the area, but this one's definitely been a little out of my normal range of work. So between the wood shake tear off, all the rafters that had to get repaired, re-lathing it, wood shaking it back in, it's definitely been interesting. It's an experience I could chalk up on my belt. They do private guided tours at this location that I'm in South Bucks County. Even right now, we're only maybe, yeah, hopefully you could see what I was talking about with that metal jig. If you look, you could see the course above the metal that you're installing. You could see the top of the wood shake that the metal's on, and you could see the wood shake below the metal. What that allows you to do is line up and make all your wood shake slightly out of skew from one another. Even looking at, you could get a good view of the right hand side and get an idea of what I'm talking about. You'll see 3 rows before they line up. Now what that translates into is by the time it gets to that 3rd course, it's 3 plies thick and less likely to crack through all 3 courses to create a water penetration problem by staggering them that way. And it really gives it depth and character. This roof had a sag in it. We tried to knock out as much of the sag as we can, but it's an old house, so I have to maintain some of the character. Some of the beauties and the flaws. Okay, here's the initial damage from the tree. You see it broke that rafter and that floor joist. My Teledrone took a stumble. It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up again. It's been a long week. We started this project Tuesday morning. We looked at it Monday afternoon after lunchtime. This whole side's pretty much been blown off. 3 out of the 8 rafters have been replaced, or 7 rafters, whatever we're up to. Floor joist's been repaired. Fascia board's been repaired. The remainder rafters have been shored up and repaired. All the lats have been replaced. The wood shakes have been replaced. The copper ridge roll has been replaced. The chimney on the right hand side, the flashing had to get torn apart and put back together. The opposite side of the roof had sustained some major damage due to the tree limb. That's been patched flawlessly. We salvaged some good wood shake on the front side that we replaced and used them on the back side. As you look out through the wood shake, you'll see there's not too many that come even close to lining up. It's a perfect system. That combined with the layers of felt paper, it should never, in theory, have a problem. I'm really glad to see it was fun working on this project. Like I said, it's a little something different from the usual Monday through Friday stuff that I do. But I'm glad to see it done. We aren't completely finished with this project. The chimney cap has a big flagstone on the top that also sustained damage, got knocked off the chimney, busted up a couple bricks. So we will be back for that. But as far as this project goes, it's looking pretty good. The painter's going to come back. He was supposed to be there today, Friday, but I don't quite think he's going to make it to paint that fascia board repair. That came out beautifully. It had a bevel cut on the top and a reverse bevel cut under the bottom. I had to make it out of rough cut lumber and use a grinder disc to resurface and smoothen out my rough cut lumber to accept paint. But yeah, I think everything came out really nice and it looks really good. After a couple years, this bright cedar color will dull down. In about a year, it'll get a lighter brown, and it'll take 2 to 3 years for it to get that dark brown. And then you hardly tell that it was ever touched at all. Alright, again, I'm Al. With a lot of help and support from my Uncle Anthony. I'm going to let this drone footage roll out. If you like what you see, please like, comment, or subscribe. This is the repaired section that got damaged. And I'll see you on the next video.